This is Run It Back with RJ Broadhead.
The Tiger Cats beat Saskatchewan on Saturday for their second straight win and their fifth victory in their last 7 games. Welcome to Run It Back. I'm RJ Broadhead. There was a lot to like about this win. Bo Levi Mitchell returned after being out 10 weeks due to injury. He played the first quarter. He threw a touchdown to Omar Bayless. He also completed a pass to Tim White that went for 88 yards. That's the Ticats' longest passing play this season. So Bo got a lot done in a quarter's worth of work. Matt Schultz came in and played the rest of the game. It's the second straight game where Schultz has come in and led a touchdown drive immediately. In his last 2 games since returning from injury, Schultz has thrown 4 touchdowns to 4 different players: Tim White, Terry Godwin, Omar Bayless, and Sean Thomas Erlington. He's thrown 6 passes that have gone for 30 yards or more. He's rushed for at least 30 yards in each game, and he's run over some players in the process. Omar Bayless continues to impress. He scored his first 2 receiving touchdowns of the season. He had a special teams touchdown in Game 1 when Carthel Flowers-Lloyd blocked a punt and Bayless recovered it in the end zone. Bayless caught touchdown passes from both Mitchell and Schultz. The one he hauled in from Bo was in the first quarter. That's just the 3rd first-quarter touchdown for the Ticats this season. The Tiger Cats had a 25-9 lead at halftime. That's the most points they've scored in the first half and their biggest lead at the half. The 38 points they scored in the game were the most they've scored this season. They had 546 yards net offense, by far the most they've had this season. That included 400 yards passing, also a season high. Terry Godwin had 71 yards receiving, including 2 of 30 or more yards. Tim White had 129 yards receiving, including that 88-yarder. It's the 5th time this season that Tim White has eclipsed 100 yards receiving. Sean Thomas Erlington got his first touchdown of the year. The Tiger Cats punted once in the whole game. 1 punt in the whole game, and it came in the fourth quarter. They were in the red zone 7 times. They scored a touchdown on 4 of those trips. So after struggling in the red zone early in the season, the Ticats are scoring touchdowns now on 53% of their trips to the red zone. And the defense has been good too. Saskatchewan didn't get into the red zone once in the game, not 1 time. In fact, it's been 2 straight games where the defense has not allowed their opponents to advance into the score zone, and it's happened just once in the last 3 games. So the defense has really locked things down. It's back-to-back games where the opponents have been held to 15 points or fewer. 5 times this season, the Tiger Cats have held opponents under 20 points. They've won all 5. Tiger Cats scored 4 touchdowns in the game. That ties a season high, and they did not allow a touchdown. They've only allowed 1 touchdown in the last 2 games. They had 3 quarterback sacks in the game. Simone Lawrence had 2 of them. Now he's tied for the team lead with Malik Carney and Casey Sales with 5. The Tiger Cats did not allow a sack, so the offensive line provided great protection for both Bo Levi Mitchell and Matt Schultz. It's the 3rd straight game where Keandre Smith had at least 40 yards receiving and caught at least 3 passes. 4 receivers had at least 2 receptions on second down. Tim White led the way with 3, and 2 each for Sean Thomas Erlington, Terry Godwin, and Omar Bayless. Jameer Thurman was a force again. He had 6 tackles and 2 knockdowns. We talked about the quarterback sacks for Simone Lawrence. He also had 5 tackles in the game and a forced fumble. That's his 3rd forced fumble of the season. Will Sunderland's come in the last 2 games. He's made 11 tackles and 4 knockdowns. Sunderland's been tested, but he has answered the call. Jagera Davis had his best game of the season. He had 4 tackles and a knockdown. Jamal Davis, he's played 2 games with the Tiger Cats, has 4 tackles and 2 quarterback sacks. The Tiger Cats won the turnover battle. They had 3 turnovers, but no points allowed off of those turnovers. It's the first time in 4 games that there were no points allowed off a Tiger Cat turnover. They also had 5 takeaways, and they scored 14 points on those takeaways. That's the most they've scored since Game 1 against Winnipeg. The big story, though, was James Butler. He reached 1,000 yards rushing. He's the first Tiger Cat to do that since 2010 and DeAndre Cobb. Butler had 107 yards rushing in the game. It's the 4th time this season he's rushed for 100 or more yards. He also caught 5 passes for 77 yards, setting a new season high with 184 combined yards. Reaching that 1,000-yard milestone is a big deal for a running back. Here's James Butler.
It's just it's a really cool stat, really cool milestone. You know what I'm saying? It's obviously a lot of yards, and it means a lot, definitely in a passing league. So it's a super cool stat. More so a cool post that my mom could put on Facebook.
I was going to ask you about your mom. When did you talk to her, and what did she say?
Oh, right after. She was super excited. She posted before I even got a chance to. But she was super excited, and just we were both super excited about the opportunity.
That's amazing. Was it a goal of yours going into this year to get to that 1,000 yards again?
Honestly, I set my goals super high, so it's even more than that. I'm still climbing, trying to reach those goals. So my biggest thing is always I want to set super high goals and do my best to try to reach those.
You're not going to share them with us, are you?
I'm not, because I'm not there yet.
All right, we'll talk again. Yes, did you know going into that game that you were 58 yards away from 1,000?
Yeah, I did know. I was keeping a little tabs on that, but during the game I wasn't keeping tabs. My teammates more so was keeping tabs for me. So shout out those guys.
So when you got it, there wasn't a lot of celebrating. Did you know at that time that you had it, and why wasn't there celebrating? Did nobody else know?
I knew. We all knew, because what's funny is coming out of the halftime, I didn't want to know the stats, didn't want to know the number, but Tim White told me, he was like, hey, you need 4 yards. And then I think I got a gain of 6 yards, and we all got it, and the camera kind of came up to me, so we kind of knew, we were kind of excited. But the game wasn't over, so it wasn't really nothing to excite. It wasn't really nothing to celebrate, so once the game was over, then we could celebrate.
I just wanted to know, and we can talk about it now, because the fumble on the opening drive, they got no points off it. Yeah. It didn't turn out to be a factor. Yeah. But what were you thinking, knowing that you could get to 1,000 yards, and then on the opening drive, that happens? Because it's only happened one other time, and that was game 1. So it's pretty rare for you.
Honestly, it's bittersweet. This last game was a little bittersweet. I was obviously excited for 1,000 yards. Excited. I think it was the most yards I've ever had in the game. Obviously, most receiving yards I've ever had. But to me, I was still thinking about that one that I put on the ground. That really could have hurt the team, but luckily the defense bailed me out. So even the whole 1,000 yards in general, it's just super bittersweet, just because I had that, I laid that one on the ground.
Well, it didn't turn out to hurt the team, and
still sucks.
That's why you're one of the best. Is you set that bar high. Matt was great. Bo was great. The offense seemed to really be clicking. How fun was that game?
It was a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, SAS is a tough place to play. It's not a very nice place to play, but it's the best environment in my opinion. It's how football's supposed to be played. I feel like it's like how it is here. So obviously the offensive line was clicking. We were getting balls downfield like we've always been wanting to this year, and we were able to protect the quarterback, which is the most important thing. So we've just shown if we can protect the quarterback and get balls downfield, we can be a pretty tough offense.
The Tiger Cats have proven they are a tough offense and seem to be running smoothly right now. Big part of that is the offensive line, and the offensive line is a huge part of a running back's success. But just like James Butler gives credit to the O-line gives credit to James Butler. Here's David Beard.
It means that our running back has done a great job of making us look good. So, no, we're thrilled to be playing in front of James. He's an absolute stud. He's a great guy on the field, a great guy off the field. Like I said, he makes us look good. He's a great physical rusher that's got the ability to change direction quickly. He can implement a lot of power back abilities as well, which is awesome. So it's a treat playing in front of him. He's a great, great guy.
It's an interesting position because you don't get a lot of recognition usually if everything's going well, and having a 1,000-yard rusher is great, but also no quarterback sacks in that game. Do you guys take pride in that too?
Oh, of course. I mean, every lineman would agree with you that we want to have no sacks ever, but obviously it happens from time to time, and things went really well the other night, and we were able to keep the quarterbacks upright and free of pressure. But that's not a given every single night, right? We work hard every week to try and make sure it's like that, but some days are easier than others. So it was a great game the other night, but we were really happy to be working with guys like Bo and Matt and Taylor and James and all those guys. So.
Just curious, as a center, David, you've had 3 quarterbacks in there. Are there difficulties? Are there challenges as a center with different quarterbacks?
I wouldn't say difficulties or challenges per se. I would just say differences. Like each guy, as simple as it sounds, just sounds differently. Their voices are different. You get kind of dialed up throughout the week on different cadences and stuff like that, and so that'll make a small impact. And it's just a preparation thing. It's nothing too big of a deal. It's just kind of changing from guy to guy, and yeah, it's good stuff.
There was some changes on the offensive line with injuries, and now it's been a pretty consistent group for the last few games. Does that help? Oh,
definitely. I can't emphasize that enough, how big of a deal it is to have a group that kind of sticks together. That chemistry is often overlooked, I would say, and that's a pretty special thing to have, is be able to have the same kind of guys playing week after week. It's really good to have that.
There are 2 games to go in the regular season, and in the final third of this season so far, the Tiger Cats are 3-1, so they're finishing strong again. They have not won 3 in a row this season. It's the 3rd time they've won 2 in a row. They'll try to make it 3 straight when they host BC. That game is Friday this week. It's at Tim Hortons Field. Be there if you can. It'll be a great vibe. If you're out and about, log on to listen.ticats.ca. Pre-game is at 6. Luke and I have the call at 7. Lots to tee up for that game. The main storyline is the Tiger Cats need to win to keep their hopes alive for a home playoff game, and BC needs to win to keep their hopes alive for finishing first in the West Division. Should be another good battle between the CFL's big cats. On W6, we'll hear from a couple of defensive players. The defense has been great lately for the Tiger Cats. Stavros Katsantonis continues to make his presence felt. Jamal Davis has 2 quarterback sacks in 2 games. We'll hear from him as well and tee up that big game against BC. That'll be Thursday. Also Thursday is Ticats This Week. I always enjoy hearing Luke Tasker's thoughts heading into the game, and of course, Ticats Today comes your way every day leading up to the big game on the Ticats Audio Network.
This has been Run It Back with RJ Broadhead. If you like what you're hearing, give us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your audio content.